Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Locker Room Central. I am Bill, and right here with me is Trent the Maestro. How are you doing, bro?
Well, I'm good, and it's always very chill to be here.
Always very chill, right?
I'm a chill guy. I keep saying it.
Chill, you say.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure you've come again with another hit on this week's edition of the program.
We hit.
Yes.
I'm a chill guy. Chill guy do cool things. No.
We'll get to
don't
see
hit
as we
up
proceed.
things. All right.
All right, gentlemen. Last week we had a very interesting match, talking about the match between the Nigerian Super Eagles and the Russia national team. It was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Mind-blowing. Trent, right?
Yeah, it was.
You want to tell me that game was so mind-blowing?
He said it was mind-blowing.
Okay, I said so.
So I accept. I agree with you.
I felt disappointed watching that match because I never expected that with such a lineup. We have such a bunch of talents as far as I'm concerned, but what is happening? Or would I say, what happened?
Well, when you say something about it was mind-blowing, thank God that you said it's from like the negative part of mind-blowing, because viewers will be thinking that, oh yeah, it's from the positive side of mind-blowing. So, and you've said something that we have a whole lot of talent in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah, we do, but look at how the Super Eagles of Nigeria has performed over their previous games, in the last 5 games, in the last 10 games. You see that they are nowhere talking about form when you talk about Russia too, because the last time I checked, the Russian national team, they can score goals. They outscore their opponents, and they tend not to concede useless goals. That's what they do. They tend not to concede useless goals. That's what the Russians do. And since after the World Cup that they hosted here in 2018, I think that was when I saw Russia play like active football. Yeah. So after then, Russia just went home. They went back to the drawing board. They made sure that they transmogrified their fortune, and they go back to the Russia that so many people want to look at them, and so many people want to see them play and perform very well. And after that, currently now, we see that there's a whole lot of change in that Russian national team, because in the last 5 games, apart from before they played the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they conceded just 1 goal. That means that's to talk about that their defense is very clinical, and moving forward to the attack is very clinical. They score 5 parts an African nation, they score 11 parts a particular nation like that. That's to show you that they are free scoring side and they can defend as well. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria are going to play a Russian that is in form. Super Eagles of Nigeria, as long as I'm concerned, they are not in form. They are not informed. You cannot call this a good form from the Super Eagles of Nigeria if you want to take a look at how the Super Eagles of Nigeria has been in the 18th, in the 19th century like that. So for me, I just feel that it was a very good pair. It was a highly contested game, and I think Eric Sekuchel, he has seen some things he have to see in that match, because he's still saying that he has not gotten a team yet for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So for me, after this match, he played the Unity Cup, he played the friendlies too against Russia. I think he's supposed to come out with a very good team for the next World Cup qualifiers.
Well, I think the Super Eagles of Nigeria were not that bad. Okay, it's not the quality we expected, but they were not that bad. They were able to hold it against the Russian national team, and also they are a side where we have a lot of goal scorers, talking about the Victor Osimhen, the Victor Boniface, the Tolu, just coming in, making sure he's been able to prove himself as to why he was called up to the national team. But one name that I'm not so comfortable with whenever it comes to wearing the shirt of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Victor Boniface. What's happening? Back there in Bayern Leverkusen, he's scoring a lot of goals, beautiful goals, but whenever it comes to the national team, we don't see him play. We don't see him perform like he used to. What do you think is his problem?
Well, I don't know his problem. I've checked everywhere. I've gone to the planet, the space. I've gone to space. I've checked all the earth, and I've gone beneath the earth. I've gone to the sea. I don't know anyone that can tell me the problem of Victor Boniface. Victor Oko Boniface, actually. Yeah, that's his full name. So I see no reason why he'll be given so many opportunities in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He'll be wearing the shirt, and as a striker, you are yet to record your first professional game for your nation. Like, it doesn't really make sense. That's for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't really make sense as a player with so many people take him of high regards were in Germany, playing for Bayer Leverkusen, winning the league, scoring so many goals, double digits, hitting braces in games like that. So for me, it doesn't really make sense because at some point, you definitely have to look for a substitute for him. And now, I don't know why the Super Eagles of Nigeria are finding it so difficult to find a substitute for Victor Boniface, because you cannot perform like this in other countries, in other national teams, and still expect them to be giving you that call-up that you deserve. You don't deserve the call-up. Victor Boniface does not deserve the call-up for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. If he likes, score 100 goals for Bayer Leverkusen, score 200 goals in 1 year, in 1 calendar year for Bayer Leverkusen, as long as you can register a goal for your own country, what are you bringing to the table? What are your goal involvements for the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
But do you think,
it's bringing nothing.
But do you think the problem is Victor Boniface himself, or is the problem of bad pairing?
I will not say it's the problem of bad pairing. I will not say it's the problem of bad pairing because so many players have come, so many players have scored. Look at Cyril Desas. He has come, he has scored. Look at Tole Arokodare. He has come, he has scored. So many people were talking about, it's like bad pairing. But now, these two players, I will not say new, Cyril Desas is not new. Yeah, these 2 players now have come in a long while and have scored. They take the opportunity, they take their chance, and they show Nigerians why they deserve the call-up. But Victor Boniface is not giving us that vibe at all. He's not giving us any reason to still believe in him. So it's not about pairing. It's about him. It's the problem of himself. Because if you don't score, why do you expect the Super Eagles of Nigeria to call you up? After calling you up, you still expect to play a single minute for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. See, this cannot continue. This cannot continue this way because if it was a country like Argentina, if it was a country like Portugal, if it was a country like the 3 Lions of England, just imagine Harry Kane not scoring for 3 months, not 3 years rather, for England national team, and still expect him to be called up. His primary duty when he's called up is to score goals. That's his primary duty, and he's not doing it. So what are we still waiting for? See, the Super Eagles board and the NNL and NFF rather, they should come up with something. If a player does not perform for you, it's a waste. It's not useful for you, yeah? It can be useful for Bayer Leverkusen, no doubt. Yeah, he's doing very well. When we are talking about Bayer Leverkusen, I'll bring Victor Boniface into the conversation positively because he's doing very well for Bayer Leverkusen. But for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, he's not doing well, and I don't see why we should still be giving that call up.
Well, something that was very funny and something that got fans talking and being so angry, it was when after the match he went on his Instagram page and said, it's very funny, I'm proud to play for my country, a dream for me also, really enjoyed every moment, the good time and the bad, thanks a lot, thank you all, I don't hang boots. I mean, come on, who does that?
That's a player that have not scored a professional goal for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, a competitive goal for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and he's coming out to say such things. And the NFL will just take it lightly with him. The Super Eagles board will just take it lightly with him. Which of the big players out there do you see playing this kind of prank? This guy is a joker. But he cannot do this. Can he do this with Bayer Leverkusen? No, let's call it spade a spade. No. Can he do this with his club side because he knows that one is a contract?
No, but Trent, you know, Victor Boniface has this. He cracks a lot of jokes.
You crack a lot of jokes, but this is a costly joke.
He went ahead to delete he deleted it
because he knows the consequences. He knows the consequences because of bloggers have started carrying it. News, official media houses of the country have started carrying it that this guy has come out to say something, and he's on Instagram. See, information on Instagram and on X. So many people will take it serious. So you coming out to say that kind of stuff, it doesn't really make sense. Come on, it doesn't make sense. Why are you making a jest of the Super Eagles of Nigeria? You're just joking. You're just joking because there's nobody that will sue you or maybe warn you or maybe talk about you or maybe scold you. That's it.
Well,
just imagine Cristiano Ronaldo come out to his Instagram that he knows that it's verified. And when anything you see there, that's what bloggers use for their news. Anything you see there is formal. Then you're now coming out to say such. How would they take that player? They'll take him as nothing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Well,
so please, he should stop this. He should stop this. I understand. He jokes a lot, but when you are joking, just know your boundaries, please, Victor Boniface. Just know your boundaries. I love the guy. I love the player.
Victor Boniface,
I love him.
You've heard it from Trent.
But just know your boundaries.
Whenever you're joking, know your boundaries, okay? One man who excited me so much, who performed so well, as far as I'm concerned, he was my man of the match. Maduka Okoye, coming out to prove himself that he deserves the #1 shirt of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Trent, beautiful saves all the way. What do you have to say about that?
Well, you say something that one man that you feel deserves the #1 shirt. I don't feel.
Okay.
I don't feel he deserves the #1 shirt for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Tell us why.
Yeah, he lacks game time for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah, he just got into the between the sticks against Russia. So we should not just use one match after a long while to judge him. I understand. I love the guy. Maduka Okoye, I've been rooting for him to come back. I like to be playing active football for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, not just getting the call up and staying on the bench.
Trent.
Yeah.
Nwabali, in the previous games, in the past let's say 2-3 games, he played for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. His performance, as compared to what we saw Maduka Okoye did. Come on, Maduka Okoye deserves.
Okay, so do you want to use Nwabali's last 3 performances to compare to what he has been doing for this country?
I am not.
Let's not forget the AFCON. He kept us in the AFCON, literally.
Definitely he did. Okay, but after the AFCON,
do you think Maduka Okoye would have kept us in that AFCON for that long to the finals?
Did you see the goals he conceded during the Unity Cup?
That's the Unity
kind
Cup.
of goals. No. I don't like when one would say that's the Unity Cup.
Okay.
Come on, it was a competitive game. It was a competitive match. You're wearing the shirt of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and you concede such goals.
Mistakes do happen in football.
Mistakes do happen, right?
Yes.
Just like the mistake of Maduka Okoye years back.
Years back, yeah.
So come on, he deserves the flowers right now.
I'm giving him his flowers.
Okay.
But you're saying compare him to Stanley Nwabali. No, many Nigerians will not agree with you.
I'm not comparing him to Nwabali. I'm only saying that he excited me. As far as I am concerned, everybody in the pitch that day, I give it to Maduka Okoye.
And he deserves the #1 shirt. That was what you said. That.
Yes,
I
said
you
so.
removing it?
I said so.
He
deserves the #1 shirt. Okay, I'm saying it again. Maduka Okoye deserves the #1 shirt of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Deserving the #1 shirt. Wait, that means that he's supposed to start all the games for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah?
Trent.
That's what you're trying to say. No, that's what you're trying to say now. Because, wow. That's what you're trying to say.
I'm saying, I like the fact that he was given the chance to prove himself.
Yeah.
And I think they should continue giving him the chance.
3 big
he deserves
saves,
it.
3 big saves against Russia. So many saves against Russia. Kept us in the game till the last minute. I understand that. I understand.
Fine.
I give him his flowers.
Fine.
He's playing in a more competitive league than Stanley Nwabali.
Fine.
But you cannot just look away at what. Just look at what Stanley Nwabali brought to us. At least he brought the dream back to us between the sticks. If Stanley Nwabali is there, we know that, when we were playing in the AFCON and Stanley Nwabali got injured, did you see how many people they were shouting when the other goalkeeper wanted to come in? So please, Mbok, please, let us, I understand, Maduka Okoye, you are good, you are all right. It's too early. It's too early to be saying that he deserves the #1 shirt. Let that competition still be there. Maybe in the next World Cup qualifiers, if he can be the reason why we qualify for the World Cup, and maybe the Super Eagles of Nigeria concede a penalty and he saves 2 penalties for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, then I would say, Stanley Nwabali, he can start.
Anyway, Trent,
you
can say whatever you want to say, but I give it to Maduka Okoye. And to Stanley Nwabali, my heart goes to you and your family members. He laid to rest his parents last weekend, and may God be with you.
Amen.
All right. Moving on to something more interesting, ladies and gentlemen, the NNL, a very interesting league, a very interesting place to be. And come on, this week is a permutation week in the NNL.
While
some clubs are already enjoying qualifications into the final 8s, what we call the Super 8 in the NNL, some teams are going to be using the calculators perfectly, intensively, adding numbers, subtracting numbers to see if they can stay in the NNL. Trent, an interesting times here.
An interesting time, yeah. The NNL is a league I carry so I don't even know the words to use to describe the NNL so dear in my heart, because come on, the NNL is very interesting. It's very interesting and dramatic on the other hand as well. But I'm going to say it's been a long road in the NNL for all the teams, and it's going to be a very heartbreaking moment for teams that will relegate down to the tier division of Nigerian football, talking about the NLU. And in the NNL, so many teams now have qualified for the Super 8 playoffs and will be looking for a ticket to come back to the first tier division, that's the NPFL. NNL, you said earlier there are so many things that are using calculators. Should I mention them?
You want to mention them?
I want to mention them.
Please go ahead.
Dakada FC, Goseda Pabi United FC, Gateway United, so many teams. I think that's the only team that I know that, okay, yes. Abakaliki FC, how will I forget?
Abakaliki FC, they don't need to even use the calculator.
They need to use it too.
Do they?
FA Cup finalists.
No, come on, they don't need to, because no matter what happens at the last day.
They are supposed to come out. See, Abakaliki FC are supposed to come out. They are supposed to line all their team managers, line all their players, and explain to us how they won Eyimba and how they eliminated Ikorodu City from the FA Cup and their last bottom, rock bottom in Group B in the NNL. It doesn't make sense.
That's why I say
but
it's
that's
a very
the beauty of football,
league, yeah?
And it's a very interesting league. But they have to come out and line up and tell me, because I don't understand why a team will be a finalist in the FA Cup and is rock bottom. Well, we saw that in the English Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur down there, but won the Europa League. I just pray it should not happen to Abakaliki FC, because we all know what their ambition is when they go to the continent. It's better left than said.
But they won their game, actually. They won their game last weekend. And some interesting results we saw right there last weekend. Some results we didn't expect is going to come out like that, but it did, actually. Talking about Beyond Limits FC. Did you expect that?
I did not expect that. I didn't mean you were asking me this last season. I would say yes, I expect that, because beyond limit, they are the defending champions as far as the NNL is concerned. They did not live up to expectations. So many people thought that, okay, yeah, since they won the league last season, they are going to come back and do a double. But it's not. They have not even qualified. They are not qualified to the Super 8 playoffs, and they will be staying in the league next season. But 7-goal thriller, come on, it's too much. Why will you score 7 goals? It's too much, come on, it's too much. So for me, I just feel Igbadro FC, if we should just accept my sympathy and just take it as you see it. And shout out to Daniel Arieri, the younger brother to Parobo Arieri, because the young man is scoring goals. He scored over the weekend for Beyond Limit. And shout out to Olamilekan too. And shout out to Muiz, was the man of the match, likely the man of the match, because the young man was in the midfield, buzzing everything. Beyond Limit is a very good team, a very good setup. Let's just see what they can achieve next season.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting Super 8 this time around, because we've seen teams like Warri Wolves, who are already, they are already there in the Super 8. It's going to be very interesting. You know, Warri Wolves is very experienced side, talking about the NPFL. They've been there over time. They've been there, they've done that. They understand what it is to play in the NPFL. And now in the Super 8, it's going to be a very interesting thing. And trust us, we're going to bring every information, every gist. We'll bring it up to you. But one thing, there's a conversation out there, a controversial conversation out there, talking about the number of teams that will be relegated from Group A, Conference A and Conference B. That's the Southern Conference of the NNL. At the start of the season, Trent, we saw on the table, it was there like 2 teams will be relegated. Two teams were in the relegation quarters. But all of a sudden, about 2-3 weeks ago, we now see 3 teams. How do you feel about this change?
Well, that's a very bad one. That's a very bad one from the NNL board and everybody. Mr. George Aliu, he's the Benga Elengbeleye of the NNL. I should put it that way. He's the Benga Elengbeleye of the NNL. So for me, I just feel he's a journalist and he understands the business. He understands what information means, and he understands what active and accurate information means. So before the beginning of the season, what you said is what is supposed to run through till the end of the season, not bringing up some stuff that we start seeing some things like that. Well, I don't know. It's speculation, actually. But if the speculation is actually true and it actually stands, I would say the NL has failed in that very aspect. They have failed this season in that very aspect, because if you say 2 teams are supposed to be relegated from Conference A and Conference B, 2 teams are supposed to be relegated, not increasing it to 3 teams and say you're keeping everything low, you don't want teams to know or something like that. It doesn't make sense. Transparency, that's what we clamor for in Nigerian football, and we are not seeing it now in the NNL. So for me, I think this should be resolved. This should be resolved before the last match day of the Southern Conference, because it's this weekend. The last match day of the Southern Conference, this should be resolved, because we don't want to see a situation that teams that the third team that's supposed to be relegated is fighting. They are going to court, they are suing, they are going to the court of arbitration to say that, okay, yeah, we did not see that. It doesn't really make sense about that. Come on. People should lay your bed. When you lay your bed, like an example to other leagues. It's an example to the NLO. It's an example to other teams as well, because if you do this now, other teams will be doing their thing and say the NNL media, they are not even serious. Why would we be serious too with our own? So that's it. So when you do something, know that so many people are watching you. NNL media team, they are watching you. NNL board, they are watching you. Mr. George Aliu, they are watching you.
Trent.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's quite interesting and disappointing, I would say, because I had a conversation with some media officers of clubs in the NNL, talking about Gao FC media manager and also that of Kun Khalifat FC. And they what they said, I mean, quite interesting. Is it really the fault of the media? Is it really the fault of the management body of the NNL? At this moment, we do not know. But one thing that I'm concerned about is actually the idea of trying to make a balance from teams from the Southern Conference and that from the Northern Conference.
Yeah.
Relegating one team each from the
Northern
Conference, from each of the Conference C and D.
Yeah.
And now relegating two or three, whatever the number is. Come on, there are more clubs down the south more than in the north. So why are we doing this?
And now they are relegating one team in the Northern Conference. It's still two teams from the Northern Conference that will still qualify for the Super 8.
Yeah.
And two teams from the Southern Conference, while three teams will be relegated. It doesn't make sense. What's the balance in there? There's no balance in there, please. And then it sounds strange and it doesn't make sense, please. It doesn't make sense.
Well,
it sounds crazy.
Let's hear from the media officers, media managers, of Gao FC and also that of Kun Khalifat FC. How many teams did they say will be relegated at the end of the season?
Well, maybe in Nigerian parlance, they say maybe my ear been paying me on the day, but I thought I heard two, right? At the media managers and the coaches conference, that's what we're told, right? My team manager attended the AGM. The AGM was for general managers and potentially team managers, right? So he attended and I had a conversation with him and said, well, he heard two. Two is what they said. So what's the chance that we both can just get it, so wrong at the moment? So I heard two, and then, early in the season, well, I was looking at the standings from the opening weeks, right, past even midway point of the season, and two were marked in the relegation zone. It's just maybe the last 3-4 weeks, I've seen three teams marked in the last three, in Group A and B. So I'm saying why the change, right? So why it was two marked before and three marked now. Right, so I'm sure the league organizers, the NNL, all right, would have things to say about that. That's not for me to say, all right? I don't care. We don't care at Gao FC how many teams get relegated. What is certain is that we won't get relegated. We'll get the game against Gateway United. We'll get victory there, and then even if it's three teams that get relegated, we're not in that web. If it's two teams, well, it helps the third teams that potentially could, should have gone on relegation. It helps them stay afloat. But we're not concerned there. That's for the organizers. That's for administrators. Our job is to get the point in the pitch of play. Come this weekend, against Gateway United, and that should ensure we get safe.
I would like to know, were you present at the AGM that was organized by the NNL before the start of the season?
Yes, I'm privy to what's transpired over there.
Okay, so what were some of the resolutions that were made, and also, particularly, how many clubs were said to be relegated in each of the groups?
Okay, for the Southern Conference, the two groups will be 16. That's three in Group A and Group B. And in the Northern Conference, traditionally, it's two teams in the past. But for this season, it was decided that it will be one team per group in the Northern Conference. So we'll be having two teams in the Northern Conference, that's Northern Conference A, Northern Conference B, 1-1, and in the Southern Conference 3-3. Okay, so that will be about 8 teams getting relegated at the end of the current season.
Okay.
All right, Trent, you've heard it all.
Well, congratulations to Kun Khalifa for qualifying to the playoffs of the Super 8. And if it's one team I want to see in the NPFL next season, I think Kun Khalifat are one of those teams I want to see in the NPFL. Wow, for Gospel United FC. You know, in Nigerian football, in Nigerian football, if you pick a point away from home, it's just like you winning 3 points in your house. That's the magic. So this Gospel United FC drawing against Kun Khalifa over the weekend away from home is just like 3 points in their home. So that's the dynamics in Nigeria football, and that's where you see an away team will come and pick 1 point and they'll be rejoicing, they'll be shouting. But in England, when I watch the likes of Chelsea drawing away to Southampton, they will not be happy. Their fans will not be happy. I say, what happened? Why? Is it because you don't follow Nigerian football? If you follow Nigerian football, 1 point at home is just like Christmas. Come on, I'm serious. 1 point at home, 1 point away from home rather, it's just like Christmas in Nigerian football. So Gospel United FC, the media manager have said it all. He says that the team, they are playing very good brand of football. He spoke about the referee, and he's not in his position to talk about them. Obviously, he's not in his position, and everything he has seen. And I know they have seen Shege this season in the NNL, but let's just leave it. We'll come back to that later. And let them just stay afloat. He's saying that they are not going to go on relegation. See, if you lose your next game, you go on relegation. You go down to the NLO. If you lose your next game, you go down to the NLO. You need favor from teams. Even though you get to win, you need favor from teams. You need like Solution FC, you have to lose their game, and some other teams like that in that Conference B.
No, but Trent, if they could do it away, drawing Gateway FC, 1-1 draw at Ilaro, I mean, come on, they can do it at home. Mm-hmm. I was right there. I saw the game. It was a very interesting game. It was very, Gal FC played a beautiful game. I mean, that was the first game of the season, and I was right there in the stadium at Ilaro Ogun State to watch that match. And I think if they were able to do it there, they can do it back at home.
They can do it back at home. Kun Khalifa won them at home. 1-0. Their first home game. Kun Khalifa won them.
This is the dynamics of football, so anything can happen. And I think with the motivation of drawing Kun Khalifat away from home, coming back home to play Gateway FC, I think they will win, just like Bright James said.
When they drew away from home against Gateway, they came back home and lost to Kun Khalifat. Now they drew against Kun Khalifa away from home. And are you thinking what I'm thinking?
No. I'm not thinking what you're thinking. I refuse to think what you're thinking.
Don't think what I'm
right
thinking.
Now, all I'm saying is they were able to draw Gateway FC away from home. They came back home and they lost to Kun Khalifat, right?
Yeah.
Now they went away
to draw against Kun
Khalifat. And they are coming back at home to win against Gateway FC. Come on, I'm right behind you, Bright. On this one, I am right behind you.
Why are you right behind him? Are you a supporter of Gospel United FC? Do you like the club?
Come on.
Do you like the club?
He's my guy, so I'm right behind you.
I want Gateway to win. I like Gateway.
Okay.
Yes, the best team should win, actually. That's what I used to say.
Anyway, it's going to be a very interesting weekend, and a weekend where we get to see all the teams in the NNL playing their last game of the season.
Not all the teams, Conference A and B.
Yes, Conference A and B. C and D already decided, but A and B, we get to see their last game of the season. And may all the best teams come out tops. All right? That's all I have to say. But the conversation continues because as far as we are concerned, the conversation around the NNL does not end here. The conversation around the number of teams that will be relegated at the end of the season doesn't end right here, right now. The conversation around the teams qualifying to the Super 8, quite interesting. It doesn't end right here, and we'll be here to give you up-to-date information as regards the NNL and the Super 8 and this whole relegation waters conversation. For those of you joining us for the first time, this is the Locker Room Central. Do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share our contents. We have everything interesting information, entertaining information for you. Trent, I'm sure you enjoyed today's episode.
Yeah, Wicked Tourist, Abdul Maikaba. The team, the first team I want to see in the NPFL next season, Wicked Tourist. I just know they will qualify. Abdul Maikaba, I want to see you in the NPFL next season as the coach of Wicked Tourist.
Okay. As for me, Kun Khalifat FC, I want to see you in the NPFL next season. My name is Bill. Bye-bye.
This is the Locker Room Central.
You're going to love it.